Indiana football headed to Evanston this past weekend to battle the Northwestern Wildcats in a down-to-the-wire contest. Could the Hoosiers bring home their second Big Ten win?
The NBA came to IU on Friday as the Indiana Pacers took on the San Antonio Spurs in no better of a setting than historic Assembly Hall.
And the women's soccer team looked to stay within the top 25 rankings as they took on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Did luck swing their way? Find out all this and more inside of this edition of Hoosier Sports Night right now. Welcome into the latest edition of Hoosier Sports Night, the show that always rocks your socks and floats your boat. I'm Ben Heisler alongside Rachel Benson. And I know you lost that voice a little bit this weekend. Not the only thing to lose this weekend.
Yeah, Indiana football and soccer had a tough weekend.
They really did. And again, just trying to figure out what went wrong. And after a successful homecoming win against the Fighting Illini, the Hoosiers look forward to bringing another Big Ten win home against the contest in Northwestern. As Bill Lynch said time and time again, this game was going to come down to the final minute. Could the Hoosiers bring in home win number 5, or was it the Cardiac Cats that lived up to their name? A little old school versus new school. Pat Fitzgerald on the left, Bill Lynch on the right, talking about what they had for dinner in Evanston last night. Maybe a little flat top grill. First play, Darius Willis, he's eating his protein. He goes to the house, 70 yards. Welcome back, Darius Willis, coming off of a little bit of a shaky injury. He takes it all the way for a 70-yard touchdown run. 7-0 Hoosiers. Willis 14 carries, 103 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. We move midway through the second. Hoosiers up 21-3 when Ray, big play, Fisher does his best version of Trick Daddy and takes it to the house. He is gone for the touchdown. Hoosiers will now go up 28-3. Fisher going so fast, he has to go all the way to the sideline. 93 yards for his second kickoff touchdown return of the year. But those Cardiac Cats, they're just sitting there waiting to pounce. And would they? You better believe it. 11 seconds left in the second quarter. Mike Kafka floats it to Zeke Markshausen. And looky here, the Cardiac Cats starting to give Hoosier fans a baker's dozen. 28-17 at the half. Now in the third, perhaps the defining point of the game, Chris Hagerup's kick is blocked, rolls into the end zone, initially thought to be a Northwestern touchdown, but ruled as a safety. Essentially a bit of a break for the Hoosiers, but regardless, it's 28-19. Now, late in the third quarter, another defining moment for the Hoosiers. Mitchell Evans running the famous Mitchell Cat offense. He escapes one way, tries to make something happen, and then, he trips over a fallen lineman. Hoosiers cannot convert on 4th and short, and would it cost them? Fourth quarter now, Wildcats near midfield. Mike Kafka zips it to Andrew, the honest Brewer, and what a delivery. Wildcats now make it 28-26. Hoosiers only up by 2. The Mike Kafka show, 26-46, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Now clock winding down. Stephen Demos from the left hash mark, 19 yards out, and it is good. Heart attack Cats win and stun the Hoosiers at the Palace, formerly known as Dyke Stadium at Ryan Field. 29-28 is your final.
Before Saturday's matchup of Indiana and Northwestern in Evanston, one couldn't help but compare their similarities. Similar playmaking quarterbacks, similar difference-making wideouts, similar middle-of-the-pack defenses. And as each squad possessed the same record going in, they both held similar bowl dreams. But come game time, there were more than a few striking differences, not many of which were in IU's favor.
It's very disappointing. I mean, the way we came out in the beginning of the game, I mean, it's tough. I mean, 5-3 sounds a lot better than 4-4.
Yeah, every time you come up in the losing end, it always is a bad result. But I think it's even worse when we out there fighting and then it doesn't go our way.
It all seemed to be going their way early in the first half when the Hoosiers amassed a 25-point lead, gaining 153 total yards in the first quarter alone. But Ray Fisher's 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in the second quarter would be the last time they would score. Despite 3 picks from IU's secondary in the second half, the Wildcats held the Hoosiers to a meager 152 yards for the final 3 quarters of play.
That was big. That was, the combination of all that was really big. And each turnover was, great. Mayberry made a great catch. Austin made a catch and run. there's so many plays in a game like that eat at you.
We knew they were a tough team. We knew they weren't going to give up. We know they were definitely going to just, keep hitting passes here and there. Trying to run the ball, just trying to grind you out. It's definitely disappointing, but we want to be defense that scores. We gotta get better on that.
From Ryan Field, I'm Kristin Carroll, Hoosier Sports Night.
Coming off an injury, running back Darius Willis had a standout game with 14 carries for 107 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Linebacker Matt Mayberry, a native of Illinois, had over 25 tickets given to family members that came out to see him play. Whoops, wrong game. While Indiana suffered a heartbreaking defeat, Mayberry certainly didn't disappoint those fans and family members, recording 13 tackles and 1 interception.
With Indiana's hopes of going to a bowl game diminishing, a critical look at Coach Bill Lynch has been established by many in the IU community. Losing 2 close games at Michigan and Northwestern has certainly intensified that talk. Ronan O'Shea has more from Evanston.
Of all 4 losses Indiana has suffered this year, this one hurts the most, as the Hoosiers blew a 25-point second quarter lead, dropping 29-28 to Northwestern Saturday in Evanston.
It was one of those crazy games that there was so much that happened from start to finish. So, I think it's just a hard loss for everybody, but that's part of it.
But Lynch's critics had a lot to contest after the loss, as 2 of his major gambles backfired. Leading 28-19 late in the third quarter, IU faced a 4th and goal from the 1. Rather than kick a field goal, Lynch opted to run the Wildcat. IU didn't convert, and Lynch was forced to defend his decision.
It's all or nothing down there. It's one of those plays on the 1-yard line and 4th down that we thought, we really thought a touchdown was what we needed. I sensed, that was a game that was going to take some points, and a field goal, when you're on the 1-yard line like that, at worst, you make them go 99.
But if you go for it, why run the Wildcat under wide receiver Mitchell Evans rather than a normal offensive play under starter Ben Chappell?
We practiced at the end of practice on Wednesday, and if you remember, the whole team went cheering and screaming and hollering and jumping up and down. That was the play from that yard line. So it was our plan to run that play if we got in that situation. So that's why we did it.
After losing the lead, IU trailed 29-28 with 5 seconds to play. Instead of throwing for the end zone, Lynch opted for a 59-yard field goal attempt from freshman Nick Freeland. His kick was well short, so why not give Chappell a chance to throw it in the end zone?
Yeah, I don't know. That was Coach Lynch's call. Nick looked like it was close. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but we got to the end zone, but I don't know. That was his call, so I'm not really sure.
In that situation, you got the wind at your back. What are the odds of throwing a Hail Mary for a score? We didn't feel like, you don't trust, with 5 seconds that you're going to be able to execute a throw and a catch and an out of bounds, and you sure as heck wasn't going to leave the field with no clock left after trying a 5-yard pass to gain 5 more yards. So the decision is between throwing it in the end zone or trying a long field goal. It was pretty gusty down there at the end, and you never know.
Now, of course, it's much easier to second-guess Coach Lynch after the fact, but the bottom line is that the 2 most important calls of the game that he needed to make failed, and Indiana blew a 25-point lead in the loss, putting a serious dent in their postseason plans, as the Hoosiers now have to win 2 of the remaining 4 games just to become bowl eligible, and that includes trips to Iowa and to Penn State. So certainly Indiana will be questioning this loss in what will become one of the most definitive defeats in Indiana head coach Bill Lynch's career. At Northwestern, I'm Ronan O'Shea for Palestra.net, the College Network.
When we come back, we're talking professional basketball in a college environment as the Indiana Pacers took on the San Antonio Spurs on Friday.
And women's soccer battled the Hawkeyes of Iowa in hopes to remain unbeaten at home. Find out the outcome of this game and much more when we come back. Stay tuned.